Hey y'all, it's Morgan. Welcome to my happy place. So I had wanted to talk to y'all about some other fermented foods. This particular one is milk kefir, and some people call it kefir, but that's just too much of a workout for me right now. So I usually just say kefir. And what it is, it helps inoculate milk, any type of milk. It can be cow's milk, goat's milk, anything. Not almond milk. It has to be from animals. And so, yeah, but any other type of milk you can use. And what it does, it inoculates it with all of these beneficial bacteria. You can make smoothies. You can make, there's this type of cheese. It's almost like cream cheese consistency. It's really, really good. You can make all of that with it. One of the things I'm making, the reason I have the heavy whipping cream is once it ferments, it will actually be just like creme fraiche. It is amazing. So I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit. Typically, you put your grains in your milk. Now, my grains may not be active enough for the full 2 cups of milk that I have these in because they've been in transit and have been hungry for a few days. But typically what you're going for is to have your milk kefir produced within 24 hours. Now, the only downside to this is it can eat you out of house and home because the grains tend to grow. There becomes more and more of them, and that's great because you can give it to your friends, but eventually you run out of that having that many friends, and so what do you do with them? I hate to throw them away. Well, come to find out, my chickens love them and it's really good for them. So I just feed my extra ones to my chickens. And same thing with the milk. If I have the kefir milk and I have way too much and I can't use it, I'll actually give it to my dogs and it's really good for them as well. But I usually store it in the refrigerator once it's made. Okay, so here's what happens. You put the kefir grains into the milk and you leave it on the counter, not the refrigerator, the counter, for 24 hours. During that time, it ferments the milk. It does not sour, it does not spoil. Long time ago, before everything had to be pasteurized, you could get clabbered milk. You could leave fresh milk out on the counter and it would clabber. You can't do that now because it's been pasteurized, so all that good bacteria that's normally in it has been killed. So what happens if you leave it out too long? It just sours, and that's a different thing. So once it has become kefir, to retrieve your grains and to make more, this is the process. I'm going to use the milk instead of the heavy whipping cream. So I just take a dish, any dish. I use the little nylon strainers. You can get these, a set of 4 of them of all different sizes, super cheap. If you start looking online and researching milk kefir, you're going to come across, do not ever let metal touch it. And no, for prolonged contact, you definitely don't want metal. But for a very brief period of time, if you don't have anything and don't want to buy anything, metal is not going to hurt. I've done it before with no problems. So you just open it and you just pour it in. And you see those are the grains. And that's it. That is how you get your kefir and your grains. Then let's assume that this would be a clean container and I would have fresh milk in the clean container. I would take my kefir grains and here let me see. I'm going to wash one off so you can see what they look like. They're funky little critters. Okay. So this is what they look like. Kind of looks like cauliflower, but they're soft. Okay, and they have a sour smell. It smells like yogurt on steroids, and that's it. So you drop them in there, and if this were fresh milk, I would take those, plop those in. Now you see this, how this has got kind of a thicker appearance. That is the regular milk. It is already starting to thicken the milk up and cause it to become cultured. Okay, that actually already has a kefir flavor to it. But what happens as they grow, they start going through more and more milk. And I have done up to a half gallon at a time before, and would not even let it sit for 24 hours. It was basically done overnight because I had so many grains. So I did end up giving a bunch of those grains away, and I fed some to my chickens. And one of the things you can also do is you can make the cheese from it. So I would let it ferment until it's separated, and you then have curds and whey. And when that happens, I would just take the curds out, put them in like a clean, dish towel, and tie string around it, hold it up, and let the whey drip out of it. When it was thicker and a consistency that I liked, I would then mix a little salt in with it and some different herbs, and we would just use that spread on crackers, and it was so good. And I've missed having that. Now, for the heavy cream, I like doing creme fraiche, and we have loads of blueberries on our place. So I usually take and freeze a whole bunch of them. I'll take the frozen blueberries, throw it into some of the creme fraiche, a little bit of sugar. Honey is my preference, and especially the honey from our hives, and drizzle that on there. And then when I'm out working or whatever, and I just need a little snack, I just mix that up. The blueberries have melted, and it is, oh my gosh, so incredibly good. And it's so good for you. There's just so many possibilities, things that you can do with this. And the cheese, you can actually take get most of the whey out of it. And people will even use the wax, the cheese wax on the outside of it. And in 3 months, it's supposed to be like a sharp cheddar cheese. I haven't tried that yet, but I'm definitely wanting to give that a go, and I may. So that's really it. I just wanted to show you how simple that is. That's all there is to it, to making kefir. And there's just so many uses. Oh, and the whey, one of the things that I like to do with that is I'll actually put it in a spray bottle, or like one of those the pump sprayers, like for spraying insecticides or something, and fill the rest of it with water and spray that in my chicken coop. And it helps remove, if there's already becoming a smell, it will help because it ferments everything. So it breaks it down, it composts quicker. And it doesn't harm any of the insects and creatures that are out there. And it just helps everything compost better. If you do some research on kefir, also look at lactic acid fermentation. That's what a lot of this basically is. One of the other things they have is water kefir grains. Of course, there's kombucha. A lot of people know about that one. I've done both of those as well. I'm just not, the water kefir grains just didn't really do it for me. I just, I don't know. It was too, I don't know. I just didn't care for them that much. The kombucha, it's a process. You've got to make the tea. You've got to add the vinegar, add the sugar. And it's just usually is too time consuming for me. So this, super quick, super easy. And yeah, I always have plenty to share or feed them to the animals. By the way, the dogs love the milk kefir after it's been fermented, and it's really good for their digestion as well. And not to be gross, or I'm trying not to go below a certain level on here, but it actually helps if you have stinky dogs, okay? If they have some gastrointestinal problems and it runs people out of the room, it actually helps with that. It just helps with, digestion in general. So this is a good thing if you are on antibiotics and you always end up with problems from taking antibiotics. It helps restore the good bacteria to the gut. There is no way a pill or a capsule that you buy in the store can possibly, it can't give you the many different types of beneficial bacteria that this can. And who knows what they've done to it to get it into capsule and pill form. But this is just another area where I like knowing what I'm eating and what my kids are eating. You can take half and half in milk, or it might have even been half and half in heavy cream. I can't remember now, but I did it one time, and it was like sour cream, but it was so much better than anything you could buy in the store. It had a much better flavor, and even my kids were really enjoyed it. They said it was better than the sour cream in the store as well, and they're pretty picky. So anyway, if you have any comments or questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them. I will try to show you when it ferments and I switch it over, what it looks like, because it does thicken up, and some of the things I do with it. I love to make breakfast smoothies with it. I'll use the kefir, some of my frozen blueberries, a little bit of banana, and some honey to sweeten it a little bit, and that's it. I'll mix it up, and that's breakfast, and it's very very filling and sticks with you. So anyway, that's about it. Any questions, let me know. Appreciate y'all watching. Thanks, guys.